Howdy, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Debauchery Circus campaign here on the Random Rhapsody Network. I'm Matthew R. Dawson, your friendly neighborhood host and GM, and joining me around the virtual table today are Brandie, Brie, John Jr., and Steven. Say hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hola.
Hi.
We took a bit of a break so that I could take care of some real-life events, but we're back to our regular schedule once again. This upcoming Wednesday, April the 4th, I'm going to be doing a run-through of Solasta, Crown of the Magister, along with Alyssa Egan from the Fab Five, and if anyone else wants to join, that'd be awesome. You can keep up to date on everything we do by following us on Facebook as Random Rhapsody TV and on Twitter as @random_Rhapsody. Okay? That should do it for the announcements. So join us as we dive into the world of Loroupa and continue on with the adventures of the Debauchery Circus. And we're back. So when we last left off, the Debauchery Circus had just survived a deadly ambush set for them by the Star Knight Sir Nynaeve and the necromancer body double of Lord Veritude. While all the undead had been defeated in the attack, both the imposter Lord Veritude and the knight managed to escape in the confusion, along with a pair of archers who had fled down a man-made tunnel in the back of the crypt. With the group now out of immediate danger, they decided to pause for a moment to heal up their wounds and assess their situation. Once a little more hale, the squad followed the path in the excavated tunnel down into the earth below the keep. Now, during that long descent, Blaznir transformed himself into a giant spider, and Ichabod reached outward with his senses to search for the undead. What the team found, however, were the same pair of archers running back towards them in a furious fright. Ichabod jumped out at them just as Blaznir in his spider form came striding up behind, which caused the two guards to panic even more and run back the way they came. Now, once the group reached the bottom, they found and were surprised to find a massive pitch-black chamber that was filled impossibly with tall trees and thick grass that seemed to somehow flourish down in the darkness. The circus cautiously crept down the central path between the trees to find a great demon guarding the path forward. They also saw the familiar sight of both Sir Nynaeve and Mildred Valcon, the former Chancellor of Northamia, not far beyond. The team sprang into action immediately, racing towards their enemies who seemed to be calling for their master to come and help. As the team traded blows with their foe, they were horrified to discover that the true Lord Veritude, the one who had ordered Edmund's family murdered and his town enslaved, was, in fact, a beholder. And so, Debauchery Circus, though caught in the beholder's anti-magic gaze for much of the battle, you all eventually stood victorious against the evil Lord Veritude. The beholder's eye rays left many of the party seriously injured, charmed, put asleep, petrified, and in Cameron's case, completely disintegrated into a pile of dust.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace indeed. Fortunately, though, Ichabod did manage to strike the final blow against the horrible aberration, and in the end, you all stood victorious against your foe. With the battle now ended, Shokan had raced over to Willow's side to rouse her from her enchanted sleep, while Edmund walks up the earthen mound to examine the remains of the Beholder. Ichabod, you are standing next to Blaznir, who had transformed into a giant spider to attempt to resist the petrification, though he had ultimately been unsuccessful. His spider's body is now completely turned to stone, a terrifying monument here in the dim light of the torch that Cameron had lit. Now, as you all stand there and consider what to do next, a question comes to each of your minds. A rather fitting question considering the circumstances you're in. Where does your character see themselves in 20 years? And since Ichabod, you're the one who rolled, why don't you go ahead and go first?
Okay, so I'm imagining it while standing here, like bloody and whatnot, and I'm like, oh, in 20 years, I can't wait to be sitting on my porch, looking out over my homestead, got my family with me, my kids, and hopefully some grandkids by the time.
I like
That's
it.
my plan.
I like it.
Chilling.
Well, Shokan, how about you?
So in about 20 years, we'll be coming up on about the end of Shokan's lifespan. So she'd probably start heading back to her homeland to procreate and add on to the next generation and live out the end of her life.
I like it. I like it. Willow, how about you?
Willow has no idea what is going to happen tomorrow since she's basically lost everyone she's ever loved, really. So her future is unknown.
Interesting. Blaznir, while technically your body is petrified and you are unable to move, your consciousness does remain in some small state. You are vaguely aware of your surroundings, but not a whole hell of a lot. But your mind still does exist, and in that moment, you do question this question yourself. So, assuming that your friends can figure out a way to unpetrify you, where do you see yourself in 20 years?
Well, I had an answer prepared for if they couldn't, not if they could. So,
What's that?
I was hoping some moss would grow on me.
Some moss.
Yeah, we'll leave you right here.
Yeah.
I'll at least put you in a museum.
That's all I can really think about right now. Just,
I mean, the keep could use a new gargoyle on top of it. So perhaps we should put the spider up there instead.
Edmund, you already gave up on him.
No, I'm just kidding. Cameron, you are dead. Your body was completely dissolved into a fine powder, which is currently laying there on the stone between, or to the side of Ichabod. He can see a few things poking out of that as well, but we'll get to that later. But what we should talk about is the fact that while dead, your consciousness does slightly exist. You are in a dark void right now. You have neither sight nor sensation, but you are at least somewhat aware of the circumstance you're in. But as you sit there and just kind of reflect on your life in general, the thought does have to occur to you, if your friends somehow manage to revive you, though small chance that may seem at the time, where do you see yourself in 20 years?
Well, I actually have no guarantee that they're going to do that. But what I figured is that I'd probably be here for a while, and then eventually maybe that I might get picked up from the afterlife by Toviar, considering that he is the scholar, and I am also a fairly intelligent scholar, and maybe he'd have me help him do stuff.
Okay, interesting thought. Serving the god of magic. That's a noble goal and pursuit, I would say, in the afterlife. Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. Okay, Debauchery Circus. As I said, you're all standing inside that massive cavern underneath of Coltras Keep. Those of you with magical darkness, you can see with that. There is also that torch on the ground, kind of stuck in the pile of dust that was once Cameron Hawthorn. In the flickering light of the torch, you can all just barely make out the long, jagged shape of the massive petrified root hanging down from above the mound of dirt and stone that is covered in vines that you're all kind of crowded around right now. The forest around you is quiet now, save for the occasional rustlings and a faint sound from somewhere towards the entrance behind you. Shokan by now has shaken awake Willow from her ray-induced slumber. She is covered in ichor and gore, but is otherwise unharmed. So, Circus, those of you who are still alive right now, what are you wanting to do?
I would like to mumble a prayer for Cameron and request that the Father have mercy on his soul, and then I would like to collect his remains.
Okay, so after pausing for a moment to, do your prayer, Willow, Shokan, you're kind of on the ground right now, roused as Edmund is kind of poking at the Beholder Veritude with his sword.
It's exactly what a little boy would do.
Yeah, I mean, he is a 13-year-old kid. He definitely would be doing that. Ichabod, go ahead and make an investigation check for me as you're trying to gather up as much remains of Cameron Hawthorn as you can. What are you trying to collect it into, by the way?
I presume I can produce a jar of sorts, a jar of some kind, or if failing that, maybe a satchel or bag.
What do you got in your inventory?
Let's see.
And Willow, and while she's kind of figuring that out, Willow and Shokan.
How about?
Yep, go ahead.
I don't want to dump out my whiskey, no offense, but I do have like healing potions I used, so I can have an empty healing potion bottle.
Yeah, you probably have a couple of empty.
Yeah, I did drink a couple potions in this battle, so
yeah, most definitely. You could start gathering up in that. Go ahead and make your investigation check.
My vague consciousness in the ether suddenly starts getting drunk.
What if I spend some time on it?
Yeah,
I'll take my time.
Honestly, I think you can take your time in doing this. But let's hear from Willow and Shokan real quick. What are the two of you doing?
I am harvesting the Beholder.
You're harvesting the Beholder. Okay. Well, it is there. It's been cut in half. Literally in half by Ichabod Sykes. So unfortunately, while the eye itself is pretty much just a chopped out mess and all that liquid that's in an eye is just dripping out, there's teeth, there's tentacles, there's a big O tongue that's chopped in half. Go ahead and make a survival check for me and tell me what you're trying to grab.
The tentacle eyes, the teeth. But if I can harvest it, I'm taking it.
Well, you could spend some time and do quite a bit. If you really want the leather, you could as well. And with a 19, it'd probably take you...
Actually,
yep.
I will say that's a nat 20.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Hold on a second. For some reason, it was not showing the whole thing on the camera. But yeah, that nat 20 just turned into a 19. You can sit there and for the next hour or so, if you really wanted to, work on the entire thing. Get the leather off of the creature's hide. Get as many teeth as you want. Probably a good 30 or more if you really wanted to spend the time harvesting them. As well as there is 10 eye stalks there. So you could cut off all of those if you really wanted to.
I do.
Okay.
All I'm saying is Beholder hide armor sounds bitchin'.
Shokan, how about you? What are you up to?
I'm probably gonna, for one, be figuring out if I can carry petrified Blaznir back so we can, perhaps unpetrify him.
Do you want to risk losing a limb here?
I mean, you can always try. I imagine a big spider, a giant spider, is pretty big because it is technically a large creature. So it would be an athletics check, but you could certainly try to pick it up and drag it or heft it on your back all the way upstairs if you really wanted to.
Yeah. Well, but that's gonna come in a little bit later. I'm also gonna go ahead and like check these people over here, see what they have. If they have anything interesting to take and perhaps sell.
Okay, yeah,
Or
there
use.
is the knight Sir Nynaeve down there. She's a glaive wielder, and her armor's probably pretty much still intact. Go ahead and make your investigation checks for them. Now, Ichabod,
Yes.
it's since Willow's doing that and spends an hour there, you can take your time and really gather up as much as you can. Everyone has empty healing potions that they've taken during this adventure. Edmund had 2 that I saw in his inventory sheet, so you can go ahead and pretty easily collect everything that's there. Now, the way things work with beholders, and the main reason I wanted you to see what you could get with that investigation, but if you search there, you're going to find all these things. Anything that Cameron Hawthorn had in his life that was technically considered magical would survive a beholder's eye ray. I did a lot of research to look this up to find out for sure. So that is there.
Does that include a spell book?
Well, here's the question. I remember that Cameron, you can answer this. I remember that you had a spell book that was special and magical that had some spells in that.
The Atlas is definitely magical, and it was in fact what I was using for my spell book.
Then that right there means that it is still in his inventory.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so I'll collect up Cameron's things. But I feel like in Ichabod's mind, he's like, Cameron's dead. But I'll collect him up, and stick him in my pack. And just kind of finish off.
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing you do notice as you're gathering up the dust that is Cameron Hawthorn and placing these in these vials, and Edmund will eventually come down and start helping you, and he'll kind of ask you, do you honestly think that we could revive Cameron in this state? But the one thing you do notice...
Revive him? I was going to give him a proper burial.
Oh, I thought you were trying to save him.
Oh, well, that's a great idea.
The one thing you do notice, there is some scintillation in this dust. It's almost as if like gem dust is mixed in with the body here.
This dust is scintillating.
Anything that is not considered magical on Cameron Hawthorne's character sheet, including gold and silver and all of that, gone. But don't delete it just yet, because we'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay. If you would like, I can send you a list of the magical things that were on my sheet.
It's honestly not as big of a deal as you think, because, like I said, we did talk about this already, and you know what's coming, but the show doesn't. So we're going to get there here in a minute.
Sure.
Now, after about spending an hour gathering up Cameron and looking through the things, you had, what did you roll, Shokan?
That would be an 18.
Okay. So, Sir Nynaeve, she is a lance, or not lance wielder, a glaive wielder. This is a beautiful, ornate glaive that's kind of curved in a tentacle almost motif. Really pretty weapon. She also has a lance that was strapped to her back that she never really used. Her plate armor is still pristine and pretty ornate as well, so you can take the time and get that off of her if you want. She had a total of 50 platinum pieces and 100 gold on her person. She also has a very ornate belt that you can take as well. Mildred is also there, and I'm not going to make you roll roll for this as well, because you rolled pretty high on the other thing, and they're both there, and you guys are spending an hour down here searching, so you can find pretty much what she had. Of the things that look interesting, she has a brooch, she has an amulet, and she has a ring that stand out, all of which is being very fine and ornate on her person. She does also have 50 gold pieces. Yes.
Just as a quick question, is somebody other than me writing this down? Because normally I do, but I'm dead.
I'm writing it down.
The player can still put it in there.
Well, I'm writing it down in the circus journal. I'm just doing kind of basic descriptions, basically like 2 lances from Nynaeve, how much gold and platinum, ornate belt, brooch, amulet, ring, blah blah blah. Once we figure out what exactly they are, they'll need to be, updated or whatever.
Just making sure I didn't need to, because I was fine with doing it, but if somebody else was already doing it, I didn't want to.
If you want to go in and edit it,
I can
better
mess with
than
it
I
later.
am. Okay. Yep.
But we can figure these things out pretty quickly. I want to do all of that in this session today. That way we can start off next session with you doing what downtime activities you want to. So, after gathering up those things, your group can make your way back out of the forest. You can stay here and examine whatever else you want to do. It is entirely up to you.
You said there's a petrified tree root?
Yeah, it is. And as you're all standing there on that big mound of dirt and look up, it's almost as though this cavern, it looks natural under the firelight, but as you look up at the root itself, you can tell it's definitely been excavated more to draw out more of it. The ceiling has been dug out higher, and to expose more of this tree root. And you can actually see towards the very back here on the mound, there's a big, tall bunch of scaffolding. Just a wooden structure of layers of ladders and staircases going up pretty high, to the point where it actually extends up to the ceiling. And along with ropes and pulleys and things, this is how people have been climbing out to excavate the dirt to dig this root out. And then they've been taking the dirt away up to the keep and out the door from there.
Can I make some kind of arcana or religion check on this root? Is this going to pose a problem for Edmund living here in this keep again? I mean, obviously it's desired.
Yeah, go ahead and make an arcana check. Unfortunately, you know the Church of the Five fairly well, and there's not a lot of lore within the Church of the Five about a giant tree or a tree root.
I got a 16.
Okay. So the first thing you notice as you climb up are you climbing up onto the scaffolding, or are you trying to get really close to the root?
I'll get on the scaffolding if it gets me closer to root.
Yeah, you can actually get all the way up to it, and it's built up around the root, so you can touch it in several places if you really wanted to.
I'm gonna touch it. I'm gonna sense it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna try to figure it out.
Now, putting your hand on the root, you're just kind of examining it, trying to sense a little bit of its essence through that. And that gemstone that you have in your hand begins to pulse along with you. You feel it kind of echoing back and forth, pump, 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 almost like a heartbeat going back from the gemstone in your hand to the root and back again. Your senses kind of expand outward, and you can trace almost along this path, along this route, and feel it as it goes farther away from Coltrast Keep, going to the south and to the east.
Do I know what's south and east of here?
Make a history check.
Sure, we're using all these intelligence-based stats that I just so love. 13.
13. You do know that to the southeast of where you currently are is the Margarden Federation. Which, actually, I might have a map for it, so let me look here real quick. So if you look there on the map, you can see that the Margarden Federation, like I said, is southeast of your current location, the Kingdom of Radagast.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to tell distance. It's really is. It continues on far down deep and far to the west and to the north. But like just spending a couple minutes sensing, it's really hard to like get a discernible location beyond that vague feeling.
All right. Well, I don't want to dirty myself with it for any longer than I have to. So I'll stop and go back down with everybody.
Okay. As you take your hand away from the root, you almost get the sense that someone's watching you from just over your shoulder. Like, you know that feeling that when you walk into a dark room and you almost sense that someone's right there behind you, but then you turn and nothing's there?
Yeah, I draw my sword.
Yeah, you draw your sword and it goes aglow and you're looking around, but nothing's there. And the sensation is gone. It doesn't last for very long. It only lasted for the moment you taking your hand away.
I'm not a big fan of this gem business in my hand, but we're going to deal with that later. So everybody, I suggest that we get somebody to come down here to heal Blaznir if possible. If y'all know anybody, I was thinking I might talk to that priest if he's still alive after whatever happened outside, but I think we should get our bearings and see what it's like out there.
Shokan, Willow, what do you think?
If you feel that's the smarter choice, then
Don't want to listen to Blaznir's complaining when he comes back with only one leg. Because we bumped him against a rock or something.
I think you make a very good point, Edmund tells you. He had watched Willow, dissecting this corpse. And it's a lot of meat and a giant half-cut eye and some skull and bits left. But you were able to collect what you wanted to collect, Willow. So go ahead and add that to your character sheet.
Real quick, you said 30 teeth, 8 tentacle eyes, and leather.
There's 10 total tentacles.
10?
Yes.
Okay.
And you can get probably about, I don't know, 2 4-foot long pieces of a beholder leather. Because it was cut in half. But you did roll a nat 20, so I think that's good enough to get everything off of it.
I ain't touching that meat.
Orcs would eat it.
The orcs probably love it. That's their business. My body.
If you season it right, beholder meat's really good.
I'm just gonna take your word for it. I do have purify food and drink, so
like I said, well seasoned.
No, let's go.
You do hear, as you're kind of walking down through the forest, once again, that sound, that sound in the distance.
All right, now what is it? Archers? Is it a couple of scared archers?
Is someone's stomach growling?
I kind of sort of doubt that. But yes, Ichabod, you do remember there's those 2 archers that were tied up, wrapped up in vines and hanging from a tree. And as your group makes their way through the forest, which pretty much quiet except for that sound, you do see the 2 of them still hanging upside down from that tree.
All right, I want to ask them, are y'all hired mercenaries or were you Knights of Coltrast? Just nod, yes or no. Yes,
They
to be
kinda-
mercenaries.
They kind of, yeah,
Yes,
because
to be mercenaries.
they nod their head yes. They are
They're
mercenaries.
mercenaries. All right. I cut them down.
Big eyes, wide. They're kind of freaked out. You pull out your sword and make 2 hacks, and they drop to the ground unceremoniously.
So don't raise your bow at me.
What the hell was that thing? It was
Your boss, buddy.
our boss was Lord Veritude and the Star Knights.
So that was the puppet master, and the one that you knew was the puppets. Does that make sense?
Make a persuasion check with advantage because I just want to see how well they believe you.
I mean, we can fight if you want. I got a nat 20.
Yeah. They are like, yeah, yeah, this was not what we signed up for. Now, the one thing they do tell you, when they came upon the Beholder, it was hovering up there on the next to the root. Its tentacles were wrapped around the edge of the root, almost like it was hugging the thing with its tentacles. And that's what scared the hell out of them, and that's why they went running away. Because while they first saw Nynaeve and Mildred, then they saw that, and it was just like, holy fuck, what the hell is that? And they just ran.
I just want to ask that y'all vet your jobs next time a little bit better, so you don't get in these kind of positions. And I suggest you get out of town as fast as humanly possible, because there's some orcs outside that might still be killing people like you. So,
no, we don't want any trouble. We'll leave.
Yeah, well, I can't tell the orcs that, so you better be sneaky.
They just kind of look at one another, and they drop their weapons. They pull their helmets off their head, and they drop their cloak down, and they're just like,
yeah, the cloak's the important part.
Yeah.
Drop that.
They kind of give you the, nah, I'm good.
Yeah,
and
we're good. We're good.
They start moving as quickly as they can down the tunnel. Your group can let them go on ahead if you really want to, or just go up there as well. But eventually, your group does return to the Great Hall. Now, as you do make your way up there, the first sounds you hear are the sounds of voices calling out, Lord Edmund! Lord Edmund! Circus folk!
Insult.
You also hear a familiar sound of an orc yelling out your names as well. She does know who you are. And as you make your way back to the Great Hall, you find Bonebreaker Darklax along with the priest you had met at the Church of the Five, Father Amos. And about 24 armed townspeople. Some of them wearing armor, some of them not. All of them with weapons, and they seem to be like looking for your group. Edmund, of course, goes running over to Father Amos, and they have that, heartfelt reunion of young master returning, old priest, tears going down his old dwarven face as they realize that whatever had happened here in Coltrast is over. Now, once Edmund and the old man kind of explain, well, at least when Edmund and your group explain what happened down below, Darklax and Father Amos and one of the town leaders, who apparently is named Jonathan Junger,
Nice.
who led the rebellion out in Coltrast. They give you a little bit of a download of what happened, and instead of taking a ton of time to role play out exactly what's going to happen, since your group wasn't there and didn't get a chance to see it, I'll just kind of tell you.
Give us the war report.
Yeah, exactly. Once the last Star Knight headed out with the undead army, things started looking bad for the townspeople. Fortunately, the orcs were pretty much in the town by this point, so they were able to link up with what resistance members actually knew how to fight, and they began to, if not win, at least hold back the zombie hordes, and begin working with fighting against the mercenaries. Losses were pretty heavy for the townspeople. All in all, probably around 300 villagers died in the fight.
So, what's the population of Coltrast?
It was when you first arrived there, it was around 1,600.
Okay.
So there's a loss of 300 people, mostly the more stronger, able-bodied fighters, the ones who were at least healthy enough to be miners and that sort of thing, and could pick up a weapon, but weren't exactly the most skilled at combat. If you get
so. Evacuation of women and children went well.
It did go well. A lot of the women and children managed to get out. They were prepared and waiting for those gates to open. And once the orcs got through the last 2 gates, it took a little longer to get those through because only one of them had your group to help. But they did all eventually break through and was able to rally what townspeople there were, get people out and into... My phone just rang. Out from town and into the outer area. That way they could focus more on fighting, which is why at least the losses weren't as great as they could have been. So there is that. Now let's see. Let me get back to my note here real quick. You do learn that the Veritude look-alike, when he disappeared from the crypt battle, he actually managed to escape into Newtown and re-hooked up with the last Star Knight, Ricton Talvor. Talvor, yeah. Ricton Talvor.
Ricton Talvor, the guy with the axe. Guards and security.
Indeed. Together, they fled along with a battalion of mercenaries, and leaving the undead to fend for themselves and to guard their retreat. The Red Tusk orcs reported seeing them fleeing to the north along the main road, but since they didn't have the numbers, they didn't want to pursue and leave the undead left in the city. There is still a bit of fighting and resistance going on down in the city, but it was secure. The town was secure enough that they felt that at least a small group could head up to the keep and search for you and see if you needed any help.
I would like to kneel at Amos's feet and kiss the back of his hand and say, Amos, you did more to save lives than we did in this keep. I just want to give you my heartfelt gratitude.
And he replies, my gratitude is... wait a minute, he's an old dwarf. My gratitude is equal to yours as well, young man. You managed to defeat the evil Veritude. You managed to restore young Edmund here to us. And we cannot be any more grateful to you. Thank you for bringing him to us. Thank you for liberating our town once again.
I just nod sagely. We do have some casualties of our own. In fact, we've got somebody petrified in the basement. In the form of a giant spider, but I swear he is a man. Do you know anybody that could possibly help with that?
Petrified, you say? And indeed, I do. I do know the Greater Restoration magic. Give me some time. I have to go back to the temple and get some supplies, but I could cast that spell for you.
Amen. Is there anything you can't do?
He's a high-level cleric, so he actually is able to cast the spell and revive Blaznir.
He can't fail his god.
I believe it cost 100 gold worth of diamond dust, but this is able to be found either in the keep itself or elsewhere in the city.
Yeah, look at Edmund, who's recently come into a lot of riches.
Yes and no, and we're gonna kind of talk about that here a little bit.
I mean, heck, I'll pitch in the 100 gold. I don't care.
Well, you don't need to. It's 100 gold worth of diamond dust. But what I'm saying is it is easily found here in Coltrast. And your group is high enough level to deal with that sort of thing. Or know somebody who does. And with the priest there, he has the access to that spell. So after finding diamond dust, it probably takes a few hours. And we'll go through the rest of the day here fairly quickly. But eventually, he does return, goes downstairs, and uses his only spell that he had left to cast Greater Restoration on you, Blaznir. And you feel that energy just surging through your body, wave upon wave of little tiny ripples and jagged energy spikes that just begins to crack along your petrified body. Until
I'm gonna go down as well. I'm gonna go down as well in case he needs help. Kind of. I don't know if he's gonna need support walking back up after being petrified.
Yeah, I mean,
I just want to witness the rebirth of Blaznir.
So I imagine most of you are probably heading down there to watch this, and unfortunately, Edmund goes down too. Though there's a lot to go over for a young lord to take over a town with, but we'll come to that in a little bit. After that hour, he goes down. The Greater Restoration spell is cast upon you, Blaznir, and you are restored to a giant spider form, with all of your friends standing around you holding torches. Isn't that sweet?
Can you turn
the giant spider is confused for about another hour. And eventually gets back to Blaznir.
Oh, thank God.
Indeed. But what's Blaznir with the party once again? The priest does tell you that he himself he is not able to cast a spell powerful enough to restore your other friend, because Edmund does ask about that.
Mm-hmm. That was going to be my next question for sure.
No. Yeah, we know how absolutely psyched you are to get Cameron back. But he tells you that he himself does not have the ability to restore him. That's just outside of his power. However, he does know that to the northwest of your location, there is another way. To the northwest is a place called Feymark Plains. It's a druid grove here in Radagast. And he is well familiar with, he has his friend, the master druid there, Bashlor Grigg. He might have powerful enough magic to reincarnate your friend if his soul is willing.
All right.
Is that I assume that's something the group would want to go do.
Well, if we could get Cameron back, I'd be happier than a pig in mud.
Rest of the party's like, nah, fuck that
guy. So is that a solo thing that Ichabod has to go do, or
Well, I was just expressing my enthusiasm.
Do you guys need someone to? Because I know
you're a druid yourself, right? I want to know how to talk to these people. So.
I'm not that powerful, but I might be able to go back to my old tribe and try to see if they will help me out. They probably won't.
Is that going to be far away?
It's
them. Bashlor. You know Bashlor personally?
No, I was. Is there someone? I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah. Go ahead. Think about it.
He gave a name for it. It was like Faye something. Faye
I have no clue. I wasn't actually paying attention.
Wow.
Plane.
I appreciate that, Blaznir.
I can't believe you're not paying attention. He mentioned druids. This is the perfect time for you to clock in.
Well, listen, it's been rough.
All right. Well, Blaznir, like I said, I wouldn't know how to talk to these people. I'm not very sociable sometimes, so I think I could use your assistance to get this way.
I could probably talk to people. Probably.
But, if the soul's not willing, I say we hold just a beautiful little funeral service for him and good for his ever-living soul.
I'll go. I'll go with you. To go do it.
Depending on
Willow,
the depending on the magic in the druid, he might not come back as the way we know him.
What you mean?
I know very little about this, but it's not perfect, and things happen. Anyway,
Maybe come back as a brother of ours. Pat your back, please.
what does that supposed to mean?
Oh, you know. I walk away.
Was that the racism? I think that was a racism. All right, let's go.
I don't know what that means. All right, we get on it. I imagine we've had a short rest at least.
Oh, you've definitely had a short rest by now. No problem about that.
Okay.
All right. Ooh, I got wild shapes. And that's it.
It is fairly late in the day by this point, with Blaznir reincarnated, and you do know that if you look on your Radagast map, there is the Fey Hollow there. I'll show you. Let's see.
Oh, I see. Feymark Plains.
Yep.
All right, we're tracking.
Well, so there's a lot of stuff going on in Cold Trast. Your group probably is able to bed down for the night there in the keep itself. No doubt the townspeople also wants to set guards, and probably your group could spend the rest of the day helping the town clear out the remaining undead horde, which for your group honestly isn't going to be that difficult since it's mostly like vine zombies and things like that.
Yeah.
So while it does take the remainder of the day to secure the town of Cold Trast, it is within the four of your power, with Edmund helping and the fighters of Cold Trast helping as well. Now the next day, your group is able to set out for Feymark Plain, and it takes about a 2-day journey to get there. We're not going to take a whole lot of time with this.
Mhm.
Because for a group of you who are all at level 10, traveling that distance is not complicated.
Are we level 10?
Yeah, you're level 10 now.
Ooh.
Were we supposed to level up?
Nope, you
don't
can
think
do
in the
so
meantime.
right now because I want to see those hit point rolls on camera. So let's do that real quick.
Woo!
Nice one, Blaznir.
Spells name.
Okay. Also, there was something that I get extra for my hit points that I don't think was going on here automatically. Do you remember? I think I get like extra hit points or something for one of my class features.
What class feature is that?
I cannot look it up because I'm in the level up thing.
We'll just hit save and exit, and then you can pop it up.
Yeah.
Hit cancel first.
All right.
Okay. But while you're all leveling up your characters, during that 2-day journey, you travel to Feymark Plains, where you are introduced to a group of mostly halfling and dwarf and human and dragonborn living together in a small community within the plains of North Emia. For some reason, it's not wanting to open for me, but that's okay.
Want you to know, so I rolled a 5 on my hit points, and then I have that item that makes my con 19, so it didn't add my con. So I added that. In case you look at my character sheet later and be like, where did this come from?
Oh. Okay.
It was a feat that I had. I put it in the chat.
Point max increases by an additional 2.
Yep, so just when you do that, you check your character sheet and make sure that it should automatically do it. I can look at your character sheet real quick.
I got the average. We only get to roll once, right?
Yes.
Okay, I rolled average. It's alright.
Yeah, it just rolls the dice. It doesn't look like it adds your con.
No, but when it does it, when it puts it into your character sheet after you hit save and exit, it does add it.
Mine did not.
Then you broke your character sheet somehow.
I broke it. I think it's because my con is like artificially. So if I hover over it, it goes down to what it was.
So technically, you have those, but if you were to lose that item, it would then your hit points would then drop. That's probably why it doesn't do it automatically.
Oh, okay.
So you gotta keep in mind that if you're ever to lose that item,
Mhm.
or take it off, or unattuned to it, your hit points would go down.
Yeah.
So, your group has very easily arrived at Feymark Plains. Blaznir. You are introduced to Beholder Veritude, the master druid of the plains. He is a dragonborn man of golden scales, bright green eyes, and one of those, like you know the way the Chinese dragon have the long mustaches going down and the long beard. That's kind of his vibe right there. Little bit of an older man. You can definitely see his scales have paled with age, but he greets you all. And Edmund, who has traveled with you, produces a letter from Father Amos explaining the situation. Does your group have anything they want to say to this man?
Howdy. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, young man. I can tell by just your overall aura that you also have a connection to the divine nature of magic.
Yes, not in the way most people agree with. The tribe I was with threw me out, but
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
it's
It was probably for good reason,
Actually, I did nothing. They just accused me.
But we are here today to talk about Blaznir, unfortunately. We're here to talk about, and I show him the vials of dust.
Yes.
Our rabbit friend sadly passed by incineration, and we heard that maybe you knew a way to do something about that.
Oh, yes, I suppose I could help him if the young man was willing. His soul was willing to return to the land of the living. I do have that capability. Now, I do have to warn you all that this kind of magic is extremely powerful, and the unguents and the herbs required for it are very, very expensive. Furthermore, he may not return exactly the way he was. when he was last alive.
Well, I suppose it could be worse. Look at Blaznir.
Jedi Slayer 420 is saying, good old Blaznir, never responsible.
It wasn't my fault.
So I imagine, did we discuss paying for this? Did anybody else? Who do we have with us? It's just Blaznir, Willow.
Blaznir, Willow, you, and Shokan, and Edmund are.
Shokan had just found 50 pieces of platinum.
Yeah, I mean, I've got 50 pieces. Well, I put it in the group, but it's 50 pieces of platinum and 150 gold. So, and how much are we talking? How much?
Yeah, how expensive exactly do you mean, sir?
The herbs and unguents required cost 1,000 gold pieces.
Oh, yeah,
well, not that I would put a price on my friend's life for it. Okay. So if we can take from them 50 pieces of platinum, that'd be great. Because their platinum is 10 gold pieces, right?
10 gold piece for every platinum piece. So that's 500 gold in platinum.
500 gold.
I mean, we can do that. I'm more than willing to chip in a few more platinum. If I'm sure
I have
all of us, we can get it.
Yeah, I have way too much gold on my person, so I can honestly, I don't buy anything.
I'll be honest with you guys. I'm very broke right now. I don't have much money at all.
Well, that sounds like a you problem.
And it's fine, I'm a pious man and all, and I don't need the material things. But
while they're all discussing, I'm digging around in my thing. I'm just grabbing out 25 platinum pieces and throwing it in with the other 50. Anybody want to throw in the rest?
Yeah, sure.
Let me see how much I have.
No, I'm already doomed. Don't bother.
Because by my count, we need another 25.
Yeah, I have that.
Yeah.
You know what? He already thinks I don't like him, and he died not knowing that I actually cared about him. And I didn't just want to ruin it.
We'll just tell him it was group effort.
25 platinum. I still have
Ichabod's over here trying to say, "Oh yeah, put my name on the wedding gift too."
No, I helped by scooping up his dusty remains, so I helped. I really have no money. Well, I have 1,055 gold pieces.
Well, Cameron technically has nothing because it all got destroyed.
Yeah.
What if we you see the shiny bits of dust here? What if we melt that? How much do you think that gets?
What happened to Cameron's tattoo?
Incinerated his body.
We don't know yet.
Well, I mean,
because it's magical ink in a form.
When you remake him, can you remake him with his tattoo?
Remove the tattoo.
So, to answer your question very, very specifically, I did say there was like scintillating gem dust among that. When the body was dissolved, the magical gem ink that was used was left out, and it just kind of got mixed in.
Oh yeah, so he might come back with the tattoo. We'll see.
Maybe.
He's not. I'm just telling you straight up. Like, the druid's like, nah, it doesn't work that way. I can't reform a body and put together the dust into a form that I don't know the magic of. That's not how this works.
All right. Well,
I was hoping for a face tattoo. Not gonna lie.
I am not changing my name to Mike Tyson.
I'm just going to stop talking from now on, and I hand over all the dust. How much do you need? You need all of it? Here you go.
Yeah, he will take all of what you've got, and so the way this works is basically he takes the 100 platinum that your group has delivered, so you can take that off of your sheets.
Yep.
Those of you who contributed. And he puts that money away and gets out these potions, these little vials of different types of dust and earth, and he brings a big thing of clay. And it's actually a really interesting process. But underneath a gigantic sycamore tree that is growing in the center of this druid grove, he has a stone basin that is covered in runes. and he begins working for about a full day, crafting a body out of clay that he mixes in all of the dust that Cameron Hawthorn had left behind, as well as the different powders and herbs and various oils and stuff that he has to mix in to create this, basically a body out of clay. Once that's complete and is placed into the basin is closed up, and he begins performing this elaborate ritual that I can't remember how long it takes. Give me 1 second.
It's an hour.
Yeah, so it takes an hour to cast the spell. So for an hour, you're all watching, encircling around, along with a bunch of other druids, waving branches, while this elder druid, this dragonborn, performs this ritual. As this works, Cameron.
Yep.
You are laying in a void, a nothingness that you are somewhat semi-conscious of and somewhat not. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, you had a gem as well, and that was among the items. Now, is that something your group would have given to the druid?
A gem?
The gem that was embedded, the piece of the dream seed.
Oh, no.
That remained as well.
I feel like my instinct would be to not hand it to anybody.
So what would you have done with that?
I'm keeping them to be destroyed at a later date.
Interesting. Okay. Well, since you already have one embedded in you, you are able to pick it up and move it around without much difficulty, so it doesn't react in any way, other than you feel that same familiar pulse whenever you touch it. Now, as I was saying, Cameron, you are currently in a void, a just formless state of consciousness. You can feel neither heat nor cold nor any sensation whatsoever, but your mind is there, patient, waiting. And in that state, your vision just kind of flows. It almost feels like a current. A current waves just moving, wobbling. And it's all in your mind. You don't feel any of these sensations other than your consciousness kind of wobbling along with it, along this current. But there are things that you do see in this state. Your mind goes back to a great tree sprung up from the ground. You see a massive city surrounding it, walls encircling it, and an army on the far side, an army that is attacking this city, hoping, fighting, trying to get in. You can see hosts of angels, celestial beings, flying in the sky, fighting alongside dragons of various colors, both chromatic and metallic. And you can see the many peoples of Loroupa represented among them, among the fighting on the ground. All of the 5 prime races, and many others as well, joining forces, fighting, trying to penetrate this city and get at this tree. Your vision changes slightly during this time. You see the armies being pushed back by a much more powerful force. You can see at the center of this tree a portal, a glowing portal, that seems to almost Eye of Sauron, looking out among this army, watching this battle. Then you see something change. A massive monster, huge, hulking in size, twice the size of the walls, twice the size of any creature on the battlefield, rise up and attack the city. It plows through the army fighting. It plows through the walls itself. It races, smashing through everything in its path, trying to destroy this tree. You see the armies using this to their advantage, pouring through the city. And in the center of this, you see 5 beings racing towards it, jumping into the portal, just as this massive lizard-like creature, a kaiju of the most momentous form, rip through the portal and destroy the tree, shattering it to pieces. You see the world age, get older, go on, move from a state of complete destruction, of the world slightly shifting, the plates changing, the landscape growing and evolving over time. And you see people eventually come back to the surface and move about again and live their lives, and cities form. And people expand, and people living their lives. But in the center of all of that, there's the echo of this tree. A wound that once was. But you can also recognize a potential for renewal. Your consciousness continues along this vein, but then you hear a voice calling out, a strange, unfamiliar one, deep, melodic in its speech, calling to you, calling to your mind. You hear it, Cameron Hawthorn. Will you come back to us? You hear other voices as well. You hear your friend Ichabod, that silver fox. You hear Shokan, wise and sage-like. The hyper Willow. Your buddy, Blaznir. Solemn Edmund's voice as well, calling out to you. How do you respond?
Well, I suppose I'll just have to put writing my memoirs on hold. Time for another adventure.
And with the choice made, you feel as though hooks latch into your mind and pull you. You see the ether of that wound, that tree-like void that was there, that is no more, the potential of what could be, just evaporate from your mind. The vision begins to fade and drift off, almost as mist, as your brain is forced downward, downward, downward. You feel mass surrounding you. You feel aching unlike anything you've ever felt before. Your body feels strange and new and different. Now, we rolled before this to find out exactly what was going to happen. And bright light begins to just fill your orbs as you open your eyes, and you just kind of cry out with a loud, gaping voice. But it's a voice you don't recognize. Ears that once existed on the top of your head seem to be more to the sides now. And the echo of it is odd, as though you're laying inside a sarcophagus. And you look around and you just see this old dragonborn man looking down at you. For a second, you think your master. And panic wells up inside you, but it's quickly drifts away as you focus on the details and your eyes begin to clear. That's not your master. He has the gold scales, but its face is definitely different. And he's wearing white robes and has palm trees in his hand, so it's like really weird. And you're like, what the hell is going on here? But you look around, and it is pitch dark, dead of night, fire on torches surrounding you in a ring, smoke filling the otherwise clear sky. And you sit up, and Blaznir, Willow, Shokan, Ichabod, as the spell comes to its completion an hour later, a body begins to rise up from that basin, sits and looks around, and it is not the small furry form that you were expecting it to be. Retro Ted is in chat, first time chatter. He's saying howdy, Retro Ted, welcome. Welcome
Hello.
to Manapot Studios, who is raiding with a party of 9. Welcome, everyone. Cameron Hawthorn, our rabbit folk wizard, has just been reincarnated by a druid grove. However, he is no longer a rabbit folk. And all of you look at him. Cameron, why don't you describe your new character now?
Yes, I will. So, he's about 5'7", coppery skin. His orbs look like pools of liquid gold that you might lose yourself in. His ears are much different now, but still fairly pointed. And you'd say that for what he is, he's fairly skinny, but considering that he used to weigh even less than this, being something like $120 is a lot heavier than he used to be.
And no doubt it's awkward as the Dragonborn helps you up and gets you to stand on your feet. Like, imagine going from being less than 4 foot tall to suddenly being what? What did you say? 5 foot what?
7. Yeah, he was
5'7",
like
yeah.
he was like 3 foot nothing and like maybe 40 pounds going to 5'7" and like 120. But he basically looks like perhaps someone who might have lived in the desert most of their life in terms of how his body looks.
What does his hair look like?
Long and luxurious, and kind of like the people that you will see out in the real world whose hair looks good without even having to put any product in it, and you're really jealous of them.
I like it. And the rest of you just stop and stare.
Well, Cameron, you're downright pretty now.
And Buck Nude as well.
Oh my god.
Oh, and we forgot to mention the most important part. I'm an elf now.
Indeed. He
100%
rolled up.
elf.
He is a high elf. And those of you who are raiding and don't know too much about the lore of Loroupa, elves are extremely insular, almost xenophobic. They have their one little kingdom, which is nothing but trees, and the outside world does not go in there. If you are not an elf, you do not make it in. And if you try, you're probably going to end up dead. But here Cameron is, formerly a fae, a rabbit folk. He is now one of the most rare races that walk the surface of Loroupa. And God, that perspective must be weird.
Mm-hmm. I think, aside from the random utterances that you would get from just trying to adjust to the whole shock of having a completely different body, he would look around, and he would look at the ground, and then look back around, and look at the trees, and I'm so tall!
You're not that tall, honestly.
Yeah, we're like looking down at you.
He just starts like hugging his body, just
I give him a robe.
so tall now.
Oh yeah, you can definitely drape a robe over Cameron.
Willow raises her hand slowly and be like, what the f...
It's
And
okay.
Y'all say I come from an ethno state. This guy is really coming from an ethno state.
What were you saying, Blaznir?
I don't know, honestly.
I I cover Ichabod's eyes?
But
Yeah, Ichabod's kind of
will,
staring a little bit.
I know he's pretty, but he's not a woman.
I'll definitely allow them to like drape the robe over me, but I'm not gonna make any particular moves to try and like tie anything. It's just kind of hanging open.
So you're just going to wild bill it, the whole thing? Okay.
I'm probably currently would be like raising my hands over my head, kind of doing the oh wow, my ears aren't there anymore. And then, running my hair through my still fairly luscious locks. Obviously not as total as when my body was completely covered in fur as a rabbit folk, but it definitely passes muster for me.
Oh, and it's probably
have the nice
chilly
hair.
too, like goose pimples going over your whole body as you're just doing that wild bill, kind of draping your arms about a little bit. Yeah, because you've lived your life with fur, and you are bare.
Yep.
Elves do not have a lot of body hair, but you are revived once again, and that vision that you had, it kind of begins to fade away, but there is that lasting impression. That tree motif, you've seen it before. You found that statue that you kind of all left in the warehouse a while back. That you can easily go grab again now that things are calmed down. But that motif that you found, that idol, the giant tree with a door in the center with an eye looking out from that door, that sensation lingers on your mind. Now, Shokan, you've kind of been watching this whole thing, and it's definitely a little weird going on here, but what are your thoughts right now?
Well, Shokan's kind of looking on, and congratulating Cameron for coming back, and I think it's time to shed this name of mine. It's I've been Shokan a bit too long now. I'm from here on I'm gonna be Kaya, which means to rejoice. Which, I feel like we need to rejoice now. We've, got Edmund back in power. We've got Blaznir back with us. We've got Cameron back with us. What better thing to do than rejoice?
We could get Cameron some clothes for a start. That'd be better.
Well, yes, clothes.
Yeah, I look around confused because Shokan's talking about this like it's normal, but I've never seen you change your name before. I'm like, what?
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and walk and accidentally trip and
I feel like you
possibly into someone.
Oh yeah? Go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw. Let's just see how well you tumble here.
Because this would be weird. Oh wait, saving throw.
Go ahead and roll
it's,
at a disadvantage
it's the same.
because
Sure.
He wants to tumble.
Yeah.
It's just weird. 11 is the disadvantage.
So you try to stand up and you're starting to wobble as you step forward, and your legs just kind of start to go out, and you tumble forward, landing right into Ichabod's chest with a thump.
So he falls on the ground. So I'm laughing.
You just step backwards so you can fall.
Step backwards and I go, hey!
And you just land on your face, Cameron. Fop!
Yeah, how's it feel being tall, boy? And then I lift him up.
My legs are much less what's the word?
Well, they're smaller proportionally to your size. That much is true.
Rabbits have much more steady legs because they are close to their body.
Well, I'm sure you're going to get used to it.
Well, Edmund, seeing you on the ground, just walks over and gives you a big hug, Cameron. He wasn't doing too well with the knowledge that you were dead, and he played it off pretty well, but He's definitely glad to see you alive again.
I mean, you crying? Are you crying right now?
It's
Let me
just
see.
my allergies.
I would definitely, if he comes over to hug me, I would definitely hug him. But this would be the one thing that would be like, oh, better
Bro.
tie up the rope first.
Yeah, nobody wants to see that.
I mean, I don't care if anybody else wants to see it or not, but Edmund should not have to be.
Trust me,
close
nobody
to
wants
that.
to, but it's okay. Yeah, sure enough, after tying up your robe, you can hug Edmund, and I feel like that's a good place to take a break, because that's a lovely, lovely scene. The group sitting there, all hugging each other, happy in the knowledge that that was one hell of a battle, but you came through it, and you are unscathed, or at least you're alive again, though some changes have been made to the party. Shokan, or formerly Shokan, can you spell that name for us and put it into chat so we know what to call you now?
Will do.
Okay,
It is Kaya.
Caia. Kaya. Okay, I'll have that changed in the graphics and all that by next Monday, hopefully. You should always tell me these things ahead of time so I can get the stuff prepped. But
No, we gotta surprise you sometimes.
Yeah. But you know what? That's a good place to take a break. We will be back in about 10 minutes after a bit of bio, and we'll find out the conclusion of the Coltrast arc, and this is the last episode of this season of the Debauchery Circus. So we'll find out how we've recapped all this here in about 10 minutes. Stay tuned. Howdy, everyone. We are back. Right before break, Cameron was reincarnated out from his rabbit-born form and into that of a high elf. Shokan also revealed that she's changing her name yet again. She is now going as Kaya. Other than that, Blaznir has been greater restored out of his petrified form and is now a human once again. And the group has spent the 2 days traveling back to Coltrast. You probably could have stayed a day at the Druid Grove, but I don't think we need to do any shopping or anything like that. It's a Druid Grove. You don't need to deal with that. You're just going to head back on to Coltrast. And once you're back at Coltrast, Edmund is hailed as the new lord. He spends the rest of the day working with the city leaders to solidify his rule and begin to rebuild. And the rest of you, as you make your way back into the town, past the fortified walls, you do see that the townspeople there, looking at if not healthier, at least a little less downtrodden. A lot of the undead that have been that were killed in the assault have begun to get cleared away. Most of the mercenaries that were in the area have just left, straight up left. There are a lot of dead bodies in the town as well. Steven, go ahead and read it.
We can rebuild him. We have the technology. He will become the 1,000 gold piece man.
Indeed. And probably riding a horse is just as weird for you, Cameron.
He's riding the same pony.
Yeah, probably still riding that same damn pony because that's all you had. The group could have taken it with them. And it's got to feel weird.
I mean, at least it probably wouldn't hurt him because elves are pretty light, but my feet would probably touch the ground.
Maybe a little bit, yeah. Yeah, I just imagine, having to spread your legs so much, just having those longer legs, it's gotta feel bizarre.
Hmm.
I can enlarge the pony if you want.
No, this is good. Ichabod laughs all the way back.
Alright, fair enough.
Fair enough.
Big man on a small horse. It's like comedy.
Yeah, unfortunately, Cameron, a magical tattoo doesn't really reincarnate with a new body. Just not
No,
how
that's
that
fair.
works. Cameron does. Edmund does tell you on the trip back that anything you did have, he does have access to the town treasury now. So he's going to be able to help your group out. He'll pay for any items that you've lost that weren't magical. So that's why I told you don't need to worry about taking things off your character sheet.
Sure.
All of your basic items that you normally used, you do get that back.
Do return Cameron's magic items, but if he doesn't ask for the gem, I don't offer it.
I will not.
Fair enough.
I will probably mention to Edmund, yes, the first thing that I should see to perhaps is some new clothing.
Oh yes, of course, Cameron.
He's riding this pony with his bare butt.
No,
Yes,
I'm sure the Druid Grove would have given him some clothes.
About that,
Yeah.
I feel strange saying this, but I don't think that should be me anymore.
What do you mean, Cameron?
I shall take a page from our Turtles book and be someone else.
All right.
He means he's gonna change his name.
And
Yes.
everyone else collectively groans.
No. Just the once. Not a habit. Just the once.
That's true. I ain't reincarnating you again, so. What's this new name?
You may call me Corin.
All right.
So now we.
If you need pointers on how to shed your old name, I can give you a few.
So awesome. Two new C names. That's exactly what I needed.
Corin.
Kaya
I
and
picked
Corin.
my name before I even knew she was changing hers, so.
That's what they all say.
I was thinking about changing my name to just Kabod. If y'all are good with that.
My name is now just going to be C.
It's going to be Blaznir.
No, it's just C.
Upper or lower case?
Killa would actually work too well, so we need to not do that.
Yeah, let's just not do that at all.
No.
But sure. Contrast in the days to come. It takes a little bit for Edmund to establish his rule. I mean, there's a lot of things to deal with. The keep itself is open to your group. Edmund tells you that for the next couple days, just feel free to stay living here. And he takes up residence in his old bedroom. He doesn't take his parents'. That seems to be a little weird for him, but he spends the next 2 days in the library with Father Amos and with the city leaders, trying to figure out what is going on with the town. Now, during that time, it doesn't have to take too long, but why don't you take a couple minutes to tell me, now that Contrast is saved, what each of you do during the next couple days while Edmund is trying to solidify his rule and make sure that Contrast can actually function as a town. Who wants to go first?
Sure. So, once I get my spellbook back, which is going to be number 1, then I'm mostly just going to be spending the time enjoying figuring out how exactly to move in my new body, and also getting some cool looking clothes, because you can wear cool clothes as a rabbit, but even if you do, you've only got about like 3 feet or so to work with, which means that you don't have a whole lot of room to do elaborate things.
Sure, absolutely. Edmund probably, if you tell him that you want to go look for clothes, he probably just hands you 100 gold out of the
Sure.
treasury. How much gold did Cameron have? Let's just start with that.
Sure. Cameron had 2,011 gold pieces, 85 platinum, and 2 silver.
Edmund probably just goes ahead and reimburses you for that.
Yeah. But yeah, I figure for clothes, I'll wear like whites and golds, kind of play up the whole desert-ish look.
And as you go out in town, you can spend a day just looking for a tailor. There are a few of them, and while, yes, the town is in the very large process of rebuilding, there was damage to quite a bit of it during that raid.
Mm-hmm.
You also see quite a few orcs kind of loitering about town. They seem to be acting as more of a makeshift guard force alongside the townspeople who are actually able to fight. A militia is organized during these next 2 days, and you see the orcs kind of molding into that. Though Bonebreaker Darklax and her wife, they stay right at the keep as well, kind of living it up. They actually took over Edmund's parents' bedroom, and Edmund just doesn't seem to care too much. He finds it kind of funny. But the orcs are working as a part of paramilitary alongside some of the villagers. You get a lot of stares, Cameron.
Oh, yeah.
As you're going about. Elves, like I said, very xenophobic, not seen very often, and like as you just casually walk down the street, like everyone just stops and is like, "Who the hell is this? Where did this guy come from?" Nobody really like challenges you, but when you find a tailor, it's a little gnome woman by the name of Trista, who runs a local shop, and she does have a bit of clothing. You are able to find some white in that. She does have a bit of gold threads and things like that, but not a lot. This is pretty poor, but over the next week or so, you are able to get whatever kind of clothes you want. And she's
Sweet.
like, "Oh, hello. I got to admit, I've never seen an elf walk through my shop before. Welcome. What can I do for you, sir?"
I'm in need of some new clothing. The travels have been aware on what I had prior.
Certainly. You know, a trip from Venice is pretty far from here. I imagine you've been on the road for many weeks. But yes, please step up here. Let me take some measurements, and you are able to spend the day. She asks you very vague questions
Mhm.
about your business and why you're traveling outside of Ilmithica. What do you tell her when she kind of gently pries?
I will just mention that I was assisting with the removal of Lord Veritude, as that part is true, and you know.
Okay. Well, now you said
Just-
you want mostly whites, and tell us a little bit about the style of clothing you want for Cameron now that you're in your elf form.
Sure, just sort of like flowy. He's got the whole copper skin and gold eyes going on, so I figured it was just sort of appropriate that he looked, sort of like one who would live out in the sun and sand. And
So you're going for a little bit more of an Arabian Nights kind of theme
yeah,
with your
sort
clothing?
of.
Okay.
Because I'm not really sure what exactly the elves wear in this setting, as my character wouldn't know. But he's working with colors that he thinks would accentuate his skin color, his hair color, his eye color, that sort of thing.
Okay. And for 15 gold, you can probably get a few sets of clothes made up for you, just to pad out your wardrobe. Hear my dog barking in the background. Now then, once Cameron has... that's Cameron. That's what Cameron was doing. Blaznir, what were you doing during the next 2 days while Edmund was, trying to rebuild his little city?
Yep. Okay, so first, I'm just gonna do a little bit of shopping. Mostly for two spell components. One of them is feather, tuft of fur, and a fishtail inside a gilded acorn worth 200 gold.
Okay. We can say you could probably have gotten that at the Druid Grove too.
All right, and this one, air, a pebble, ash, and water inside a gold inlaid vial worth 400 gold.
Okay. So both as a druid, you would have been able to pick up both of those at the Druid Grove. Now, go ahead and make a persuasion check. We'll do a retroactive.
Persuasion 22.
Yeah, you can pick up both of those for the 600 gold, no markup whatsoever.
All right. I didn't do math. So I didn't do
600
math.
gold.
Yeah, 600 gold pieces.
Yeah, I just needed to get my gold. How much I have now? I cannot talk.
But other than making sure you got a couple spell components that you were looking for, what did you do around the town? Or did you just stick to the keep and help out Edmund?
Well, so I was wanting to just kind of scour the keep for anything that the cultist guys left behind on mostly how they created their vine zombies and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So you're specifically scouring the keep looking for information about what the cultists were doing, how they were creating those. Go ahead and make for me 2 rolls. First, you're going to make an investigation check. Then you're going to make an arcana check.
Oh, I am very good at both. 14 and 21.
Okay, 21, nice. So with your 14, yes, it does take you probably both of those days searching through the keep. But down there on the first floor, you do find a small bedchamber and office that actually was being occupied by the body double of Lord Veritude. You find among them a spell book with a few spells, and we'll take care of that later, Cameron. Just keep in mind that there is a necromancer spell book. Apart from the spell book, you do also find a series of notes in a notebook, and with your 21 Arcana check, it details a strange sort of branch of druidic magic. It's actually written in the druidic language, but Blaznir, you do know how to read that, so I'm not going to make you roll anything beyond the Arcana check. The language, like I said, is in that druidic, and it details using a great power source. A power source that they describe as being both inside and outside of time, exuding both necromantic and nature-based magic. It described as a crystalline seed, an essence of a great power that no longer exists. And you do find that it is called a dream seed. It's described that using the druidic magic through this and interweaving necromantic magic between them, they were able to infuse vines to grow up through corpses. And it took a lot of time. It took actually a good week or so for this process to be done per zombie or per skeleton. But the end result is a fortified, much stronger undead creation that is basically bolstered by this druidic magic.
Okay. Fun.
You do find that there is a ritual in the back of this book that explains how using the dream seed in concert with it describes as it's described as the essence of knowledge, a liquid that is collected that drips down from the petrified root down underneath the keep. And it's said that using that is what allows them to create these things. And this ritual that's designed uses the seed with the root, and that's how they're able to bring the vines up through the corpses. And you do remember down underneath the keep, all those vines that were kind of growing up out from and underneath the root?
Yep.
That's probably where they were doing it. You have any questions about what I described so far?
I can't think of anything.
Okay. Apart from that, there is a few other odds and ends. Inside his room, you do find quite a bit of gold, about 10,000 gold pieces, just in a sack underneath his bed.
10,000?
Yeah.
Whoa!
Okay, that's a lot.
Keep in mind, you are in Edmund's Keep.
Yeah, that's...
But you also find a book in there that kind of details like the way he was skimming taxes, which if you showed to Willow, she could probably explain further how that was working, being a former member of the Thieves Guild. But you get the sense that he was taking money that was... Yeah, he was basically embezzling out from Coltrast, and this money that you find in this little chest is his nest egg in case of he needed to escape that unfortunately he couldn't get.
Well, seems like I'm going to be distributing some gold to people. Some of it. Most of it. Anything else interesting?
Among his items, apart from that, you also do find a wand, and you find a rod with a button on the end of it.
Oh. Sounds like an immovable rod. Have one of those, but... Okay, I'm gonna put into the circus journal the wand and the random weird rod.
Okay. And so that's basically what your 2 days you were able to accomplish, because it did take you all day, or 2 days, searching through the keep.
Did you say you already have an immovable rod?
We do. There's one in party magic items.
So now we can have a movable rod ladder where you hold one up, click it, put the other one up, click it, put the other one up, click it. Think about it. This is perfect.
You really need 3 to do that right, but
no,
yes.
You can have one in each hand and go like this. with just upper body strength for sure. But
Yeah, we would need like someone strong to do it, and
gains.
we have no one that's really that powerful in here, so I don't think we could do that.
That is true, but it's a good idea.
Yeah, we could get once we get a third one.
We don't have anybody powerful enough who would need it, considering the one person powerful enough can literally run up walls. So,
I mean, I will gladly arm wrestle her for it, because I definitely will arm wrestle her
gotta
for
have
it.
both of them. Gotta have both of them make it work.
Willow's pretty strong too. All things.
It's
I have a 20 strength.
Willow's very strong.
I thought everyone just used strength as their dub stat.
I did dump it.
No, I actually have a 10 in strength. I dumped charisma.
Oh, I have a 9 in strength, so... Anyway.
Well, let's move over to Willow. Willow, during those 2 days, what did you do?
I would love to find a blacksmith to try to make my hidden dagger.
I'm pretty sure you did that when you first arrived here, and I told you there's one person who has that ability to make them.
No, that was the other game, because we talked about it, but we never actually, in-game, actually did it.
I could have sworn I told you in-game about him.
Oh, well, we'll just say you did then.
Well, if you question the blacksmith and you tell him kind of what you're looking for, the hidden blade item, they tell you that, like, that's more of a tinkerer's kind of thing than a blacksmith. Now, a blacksmith can make the dagger for you, but a blade that's hidden in a gauntlet that kind of shoots out when you move a certain way, that's much more fine, delicate tuning than they could accomplish. He does recommend to you, however, that in Morag, which is the country to the east of you, there are blacksmiths and tinkerers in the capital city of Morag that could probably do that sort of work.
Sounds good. Then I'm just going to finally try to absorb that Shadowfire died and actually deal with my grief then for the 2 days. So I can process it, since I've been doing nothing but rampage since his death.
Okay. So what do you do to try to get yourself in the mindset and deal with your grief? Where do you go?
I go find a room, I have a bottle of whiskey, and I lock the door.
Well, you can
And
certainly
I cry and drink.
Okay. You can certainly find a bedroom in the Coltrast Keep, just a quiet little corner room that you can just lock yourself in. And you do. You sit there and you drink your whiskey and you think about Shadowfire. You think about seeing him again, that zombie form, fighting alongside that was Sir Portleone. You think about the last time you saw him, the last time you were together, the first time you saw him. You think about the time wives were saved. You think about the time that you held each other. And you drink your whiskey and you just sob your sorrow away. You think about your friends, Blaznir and Cameron, seeing them fall, potentially forever in battle. But you also have the knowledge that, though Cameron may have changed, your friends are with you once again. Now, as you're sitting there, wallowing in your grief, a familiar voice speaks into your ear, and it catches you off guard. The voice says, "Willow, darling." No, this is the wrong voice. Hold up. I actually have a specific voice I use for this guy. Now, Willow, darling, I'm going to need some help from you soon. Sparkles is fallen, but I know how to revive her. Need your help.
Okay. Oh, gladly help.
You just got an ascending spell in your ear, and you recognize this voice. It's Shadows in the Wind. A man who he and his wife helped you once in your past. They were good friends to you during your times in the Thieves Guild. Back in Rowena, the desert oasis, the sparkling sapphire of the gentler wastes. Then you kind of sob a little bit, but you say, you'll be there to help.
Yes.
Now, Shokan, during your 2 days, what do you do?
I mean, I don't know what Shokan does, but
Well, sorry. Kaya.
Oof.
Kaya. Right here.
right back at you.
What do you do, Kaya, during the 2 days that everyone else is dealing with some stuff here in Contrast?
Well, I was kind of wondering, is there a place where I could perhaps enchant some of my weapons to do other types of damage, like necrotic damage, or
Well, you do know that in North Amia, the capital to the north, they have tons of enchanters. It is the biggest magical city in the world, and that is something you could absolutely do during your downtime. But specifically here in Contrast, while everyone is kind of rebuilding and helping out and trying to establish Edmund, specifically is what I'm talking about. What would you have done during those 2 days?
oh well, I mean, I'd be providing muscle where muscle's needed. Need something lifted and moved around, I'd go do it.
So you're out there helping the townspeople rebuild and that sort of thing?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and give me an athletics check with advantage to see how good a job you're doing while everyone else is kind of, dealing with personal shit or thinking about things or just exploring the keep. Kaya's out there helping the townspeople. Let's see how you do.
You said athletics?
Yeah, athletics with advantage.
See, now you're making us look like assholes.
I mean, doesn't she always?
No.
I mean, that's not my intention.
No, I was talking about Matt. He's like, well, while everyone else is doing stuff for them, you're going
That'd
out
be
and
a
helping
25.
people.
Yeah, that was the point. I was fucking with you. Okay. And you're Corin now. I got to get used to that Corin. I'll have the new art for next session. Hopefully, I'll have character art too for next session.
Correct.
But anyway, yeah, with a 25, you spend those 2 days helping the townspeople, smashing down the walls that are starting to tumble in, rebuilding others, just being the general muscle and helping out as much as you can. And you do have quite a good rapport with the townspeople by the end of this. They've gotten used to seeing a turtle, a being that they've certainly never seen before in this region, just helping them out, generally going around being a good Samaritan and doing some good deeds. And probably all of you pick up this during those 2 days, and I'm sure all of you do help out as well. Check in with Edmund to see how he's doing, and most of the time he's just really working hard, trying to understand the situation of Contrast. Now, during that time, I'm sure all of you have sat down and talked with him too, and you do find out that a lot of the resources of Contrast were depleted, trying to dig out this underground chamber. Part of the research that Blaznir found talks about how Lord Veritude had known about this cavern where the root was, though he never really explained how to someone like the Veritude lookalike. Which
Matt, do I get to do stuff in that 2 days?
Yeah, sorry.
I don't think it can happen.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I did not mean to skip over you.
Okay.
No, you're not allowed to do
You're not allowed to do
I have
anything.
stuff I want to do.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
So I imagine I wanted to do the Topaz Dragon scale mail horse armor for Salvatore, but we had to enchant it. So is that something I'd have to do?
Yeah, that's something you're going to do in North EMEA during your during
And then
your time.
something that can get done here is I would like to change the engraving on that 5-star shield to be the symbol of the father. I ain't repping these knights no more.
Yeah, absolutely. The local blacksmith can 100% take off the outer design of the shield, file it down. It is a magical shield, but I imagine they make the shield and enchant it and then paint on a motif. So
Yeah.
so it is able to be changed, and you can pay to have a symbol of the father put on instead. Now, as the hero of Coltrast, he's very much willing to give you a discount, and he tells you that he is only going to charge you for the materials he needs to do this at 25 gold pieces.
Much respect, sir. And then the rest of my time, I would like to perform as many funerals as I possibly can in that time period, because I have ceremony, which lets me perform funeral rites, so none of those people can become undead if anything were to happen.
I like it.
But I'll do as many as I possibly can, helping Father Amos with all those 300 people or so that died.
Now, how long does this the ceremony take place? How long?
It's an hour.
It's an hour.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you're working hard at it, you can perform these 8 hours a day.
Mm-hmm. All day, every day.
Yeah, pretty much. You can spend 8 hours doing that, and you could probably even push yourself if you really want to. It's entirely up to you. If you want to take a point of exhaustion every other day, then spend the next day doing a little bit less. Over the course of 2 days.
I think I would.
No hate, Brie.
Yeah.
But when you said that, all I could think of was Vegas-style quickie funerals.
Quick funerals. Speed funerals. No, I feel, obviously I feel bad for all the people who died, and I want all their souls to make it to Ethereum, so...
Well, Father Amos definitely accepts your help gratefully. There's a lot of dead. Like I said, there's over 300 people.
We'll get all the pastors in on it. We're all performing 8 funerals a day.
There's actually quite a bit of plans to expand the cemetery
and bury these people.
And bury them.
Because I imagine that's a whole hour, so that could be the whole, whole burial and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So, working those 2 days, you can help them, Amos out and his fellow priests. It does take a long time. It probably takes a few good weeks of work to bury everybody and to clear out all the undead that are just lying about the city. But the town people do work together in this, and while it will take a lot of time, Coltrast definitely will be rebuilt. And you get that sense over the next 2 days. And at nights, Edmund entertains you all and kind of tells you a little bit about what's been going on. Like I said, a lot of the treasury has been stripped. There is enough to keep the place functioning, but they had also took a lot of the townspeople away from doing their jobs, growing food, things of hunting, things like that. So they're putting forth a lot of effort to do a late planting and hopefully get as much foodstuffs as they can. And they're also going to have to buy from other villages to keep people fed for the winter. But with the help of Father Amos and with the help of all of you, some of you are more intelligent than others. Cameron, he definitely relies on you quite a bit. And during those 2 days, he probably talks to you a lot about ideas and things and math.
Oh, yeah.
And all that shit. At the end of the 2 days, Edmund tells you that he's throwing a banquet in your honor. He had to focus on getting the town, functional and livable, but he the entire time he was telling you that as soon as he knows what's going on, he really wants to honor you all. And at the end of 2 days, he does invite you all to attend a banquet in your honor. Father Amos is there. The city leaders who fought against Veritude are there. Some heroes who really stepped up and fought hard against the undead are there, as well as some of the widows of people who fought. Your group is presented once again to the townspeople as the heroes of Contrast, and the feast, while simple, not definitely the fare you received at the palace in North Amia, but it's filling. It's good as it can be, and you definitely all can sense that the gratitude of these city leaders, and definitely Edmund. During that time, people talk and that sort of thing. But what anything you all want to do during your banquet? Anything you all want to say or talk about during that time?
I want to serve Edmund a glass of whiskey, but I don't make a big deal about it because he's a man now. So I pour myself a glass, and I pour him a glass, and I just give it to him.
Yeah, he definitely takes that and drinks with you, and he understands the solemnity of what you all did together. And after toasting and cheering to your honor, he does turn to you all. He says, "Now, all of you, my friends, the Debauchery Circus, I have to say once again thank you for rescuing me all those weeks ago, for traveling with me all this time, for even as some of you moved on and others took your place, your group has always been there to take care of me and protect me. You brought us back to my hometown and destroyed the vile evil that had taken it over. While some people didn't survive, all in all, you saved my town. And for that, all of us owe you an eternal debt that we can never repay. So to everyone here, raise your glasses and join me in a toast. The heroes of Contrast, the Debauchery Circus."
Man, I hate that that's what we're called. I drink it.
Wow.
And can you say the Debauchery Circus and Ichabod Sykes?
No, you are the circus.
Yep.
Oh,
Hey, Matt.
Yes.
Since you said that Edmund was talking to me a lot in the past couple of days and asking me various things.
Mhm.
I think one thing that I would have tried to discuss with him a little bit, I know he was talking a lot about like rebuilding and that sort of thing, is a question that I had that I kind of wanted to find the answer to, which is Veritude.
Mm-hmm.
Was he like a guy who turned himself into a beholder? Was he a beholder who was like portraying a human because he was like polymorphed himself? Or
So Edmund tells you that the Lord Veritude that he knew, his father's friend, was that the man that you had all seen, the bald, sallow man who he identified. That was the man that he had always met. Now, whenever he met him, like he could touch him, he could hug him. He was like basically his uncle from another mother. His father's best friend that he was called
question,
uncle.
Yeah.
Edmund, is from, obviously this is just an opinion, but from your idea, does it seem like Lord Veritude truly was your father's friend, and then he was corrupted by joining the cult and became the body double for Veritude, the Beholder? Or is it that he was a plant from the beginning?
Well, it's from what we were able to find in all of the papers that we found in his bedroom. He had been serving the Beholder the entire time. The journal spoke many times of him serving Lord Veritude, that he was just the front man, the stand-in.
Just downright treacherous.
It detailed him purposely befriending my father so that they could weasel themselves in and take over, intending to get to the root. It spoke a lot of communing with the root and communing with the seeds to bring what they called the great wisdom back to Loroupa. And by this time, I imagine you probably got that idol once again, that golden idol.
Sure.
And you all kind of look at that thing again, and Edmund tells you that great wisdom that's described. It's also described as an all-seeing eye, and that eye there, in the idol. My guess is that's what they're worshiping.
When I was in physical contact with the petrified root, I did get the sense of a pulse that seemed to go somewhere southeast, maybe towards the Federation, and I did get the feeling that I was being watched. So
go ahead. Go ahead, Cameron, since you were the one who first asked about this. Go ahead and roll an insight check.
Sure.
You can as well, Ichabod.
A 21, good sir.
With advantage, so 20.
Okay. So both of you have heard a lot about the story of the previous members and what they originally had discovered. They know that this cult that you keep running into was trying to resurrect whatever being it was their worship. They worship
big tree.
Yeah, they definitely have a focus on the tree, but every time you've encountered them, they've spoken of the dreamer or the great wisdom. You remember that one druid that you encountered in the dungeon outside of Dusk Hollow? He kept repeating over and over again that the dreamer will take you, that the dreamer is all, and things like that. That they were trying to return this dreamer to Loroupa.
The tree connects all the planes, right? Something about plane traveling was a thing.
Yeah, you have with a 20 and a 21, you do definitely recall that this great tree that this cultists are trying to return is a gateway to other planes of existence.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. What's next for this debauchery circus?
We could just perform some debauchery.
We've already done the circus.
Yeah, the circus.
I don't either, but it's in the name, so we kind of have to.
Or we could branch out and become assassins.
I don't think assassins is the greatest idea for us.
Arsonists?
We assassinate their sex drives by having sexy sex with them and debauchery.
Listen, you've been over 2 feet for a whole 4 hours. Let's keep it calm down now a little bit.
Ichabod's drinking the entire time they're having this conversation. And finally, after like 4 or 5 drinks, I'm like, guys, I just kind of miss my family, and I heard that they was nearby, so I think that's probably what I'll be doing.
That sounds nice.
Are they wanting to travel with the circus as well?
I don't reckon they want to travel or see or be around me at all in the slightest, but that ain't never stopped me before, so.
Oh.
I just gotta, I gotta go my way.
Fair enough. Do what you need to. You don't? Do you want anyone to follow you, or is this a lone thing?
Oh yes, abandon your family in our time of need.
Actually,
Well, the abandonment happened already. This is the returning.
No, you're here. You haven't left us yet.
Oh, you guys are
Actually-
my family. Well, that's what's got me thinking. You know, all this Edmund reclaiming his right and whatnot, and I just think I gotta head that way. But if you guys want to follow me after a few days, if I don't come back, then maybe I ran into some trouble. I wouldn't mind that.
well, I was actually meant to tell you guys this during my recuperation time. I was contacted by an old friend that's needing some help. Would love for you to meet him.
Oh yeah. Where is it at?
I haven't quite been told where we need to go yet. It's kind of like a standby situation.
All right. Well, we've all kind of been there for each other, so if you've got something you need to work out and you don't mind helping me with the things I got to work out, then sure, you can sign me on. Part of the circus for a little longer, I suppose.
I'll help you work out anytime.
We're going to minimize the debauchery aspect, though, if you don't mind.
Okay, you're no longer a rabbit. You can't be like this, okay? You don't populate anymore as fast.
I feel like he's getting worse, honestly. He was kind of reserved when he was a rabbit and would whisper under his breath.
I think his drive went up with his height.
Well,
Maybe he's born with it. Maybe it's Glorfindel.
As you're all kind of talking about things you're wanting to do, Edmund tells you, well, I do understand that all of you have things you want to achieve, and I do understand that, but I also hope that you know that you all always have a home here in Coltrast. I wanted to offer you, I'm intending to form a council to help me rule Coltrast and to give me advice on the best way to manage the city here. And I was hoping that each one of you would be willing to be members of that council. Now, obviously, you have to do your own things as well, but to make sure that you always have a reason to return, I want to give you one of the manor houses here in the upper city as your permanent home.
Damn.
Oh, can I make a request?
We're moving up in the world.
Of course, Ichabod.
Let me just take a little peek. I'm reading my notes real quick.
He had this point.
Because you're saying the manors that were formerly of the Knights, right?
Correct.
All right, so I would like the home of Nynaeve Mendragor. She became kind of a nemesis of mine.
Okay.
So I would love to just go through all her belongings.
Yeah, absolutely. He tells you that certainly he's happy to give you the manor house as is. Nobody's been inside it since you all killed Sir Nynaeve. So you can absolutely search it and go through that. And I have the map for it that I'll show you. And if there, like, I'm
not trying to rush into it, and I really am truly grateful. I just was thinking on it.
No, you absolutely can. Like, remember Port Leon's mansion that you all kind of explored a little bit of? They each look very similar. They're designed by the same designer, and they're built in the same way. So, what you saw in there is
maybe there's a secret tunnel that connects them all.
Well, you can certainly look for that later on. He also tells you that though he doesn't, the treasury isn't the greatest, he can also help you out financially. He already reimbursed Cameron, who lost all of his gold in the fight, but he's also willing to give your group a total of 10,000 gold pieces to distribute among you.
Sweet.
We have... Okay.
Edmund's big man on big things.
We have what, Blaznir?
I found a bag of gold. A big bag of gold in the necromancer's room. The Veritude guy.
Well, how much gold?
About 10,000.
Then I don't see how we could possibly take this from the treasury.
That's what I was about to say, because I feel bad for taking this, because this has probably been embezzled.
Blaznir, I've had my doubts about you, but at heart, you really are a good guy.
I just don't want to have the whole thing on my conscience that I just stole from.
I'll take his share. I have no conscience.
We get a net 10,000 is what it sounds like.
Yeah,
that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we don't need any more. We don't need the 10,000 from you, Edmund.
Well, why don't you hold on to what you already found instead of returning it to me, and I'll just hold on to these bags of gold over here.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Absolutely.
Sure.
That way you got a little bit more gold. You have a home, a permanent base now in the city of Coltrast. That if you want to, you could add things to. You could, if you want to hire people to do things to rebuild it a little bit, you certainly can. You also have it as is that you can look through to find out about what Sir Nynaeve had. During those 2 days, you probably also would have been able, Cameron, to cast Identify, because you do have Identify.
Hell yeah, I do. Ritual casting.
So, let's see. Mildred Valcon, she had a brooch, she had an amulet, she had a ring.
Yep.
And she also had a +1 crossbow. So she's a +1 light crossbow is among her inventory.
Okay.
The brooch is the brooch of living essence.
Okay.
It's a wondrous item. It's uncommon. While wearing this nondescript brooch, spells and anything else that would detect or reveal your creature type treat you as humanoid, and those that would reveal your alignment treat it as neutral.
Interesting.
That would do nothing for me. I'm a neutral humanoid.
I am curious to know what that amulet is, because I was going to use that to locate her if we ever needed to.
Well, that's the interesting thing, because the amulet that she was wearing is an amulet of proof against detection.
Oh, that's awesome.
It requires attunement. While wearing this amulet, you are hidden from divination magic. You can't be targeted by such magic or perceived through magical scrying sensors.
That's cool.
It's so ironic, because that one time when I walked past her, I was like, can I get a close look at her amulet? Because the spell says if you've been within 30 feet of it and have taken a good look at it, you could detect her with locate object.
Yep.
So it would have been really funny that I would be locating the non-detection object.
It really is. That's actually kind of ironic. The last one, the ring, is a ring of lightning resistance.
Cool. I am updating things as we speak. What about the ornate belt?
Let's see.
From Nynaeve, right?
Nynaeve. Let me pull up Sir Nynaeve.
And didn't you say one of those lances was magical of some sort?
The glaive was.
Oh, I misheard. I thought you said there's 2 lances, so that needs to be updated.
No,
there are 2 lances,
Yeah.
but they might not be magic.
Yeah, she had 2 lances. They are not magical. The lance itself, let's see here. Where is?
Okay.
What's the?
Feel free to put in what I missed then.
Yeah, I'm dealing with it.
Yeah, so the belt is a belt of dwarven kind.
Cool.
The glaive itself, just a +1 weapon. All of their magic that they had focused on their weapons seemed to come from their
spells.
Their connection to the dreamer. The armor is a +1 plate armor, and she also had a +1 shield.
Can I, if if you don't give it to somebody else, I would love the Belt of Dwarvenkind.
Oh god, it's the one that makes you grow a beard if you can.
Yes, I want to have a bigger beard.
Hey, wait, you don't have dark vision yet, do you?
And I don't have dark vision. It would be so perfect.
I don't have a problem with that, but let's talk about that after we finish everything. We still got...
Whoever decides who wants it, let me know. I'll just drag and drop it onto your character sheet so it fixes everything automatically.
Sure. I am removing that 10,000 gold because everybody can just add 2 to your sheet. 2,000. So, what I have left listed is the wand and the rod.
Yes.
I don't know if there's anything else that we found.
There was some gold that I put in there. I think 150 gold.
Okay, yeah, I see that.
Yeah, I took the 50 platinum off that we used for
Yeah, so everybody can just add an additional 30 then, and I'll mark that 150 off of there.
I also see further up, I'm not sure if this was what Blaznir was talking about, but that we have 3 sacks of gold and a sack of platinum. Or have we already divvied all that up?
No, not yet, because we didn't have time to actually count it, so we didn't know how much was in there.
Okay, and then there's a bunch of gems, too.
Yeah, that's stuff from earlier.
We can always get those totals later, too.
Yeah, so, let's see here. The wand is a wand of secrets. It's an uncommon wand that has 3 charges. While holding it, you can use an action to expend one of its charges, and if a secret door or trap is within 30 feet of you, the wand pulses and points at the nearest one to you.
Yeah.
That's pretty weird.
I like it.
The rod.
The rod is indeed an immovable rod.
Yes!
Cool.
Ladder time, woo!
Now the fun part for me, Matt.
Yeah.
We have a necromancer's spellbook.
Is that the one I found, or... Because I put that on my character sheet, I didn't know where to put it.
Yeah, that was the one you found.
Okay.
But it's a wizard spellbook.
I mean, I do know wizard spells. Can I have it?
Because wizards use spellbooks.
Are you able to learn more spells in that way? I don't think so.
I can't.
I'm not, but I'm a wizard, though. I'm just saying because I'm a wizard.
What?
You're not a wizard. You just use the wizard spell list.
Do you use the wizard spell list, or do you have the wizard class name? Because that's not the same.
I just want to have something in common with you.
Oh, that's fair. We both use wizard spells. That's fair.
Thank you. Now I want the book.
And with the Belt of Dwarvenkind, it would, since it raises your constitution, it would give me exactly 100 hit points.
Wow.
But don't you already have something that raises your constitution?
Yeah, is that not able to stack?
They do not stack. No.
Like,
Wait, really?
Because it says to a maximum of 20.
I know, but that's one of the things about D&D is you can't have 2 of the same...
I was going to say the only thing I knew of that didn't stack is you can't have an item that increases something if you have an item that sets something. But, okay.
At least that's how I remember it.
Well, it used to be in like 3.5 because they had all sorts of different bonuses, but...
I have exactly 100 hit points
We
now.
can look at it again.
That's fine.
I have 86 as a fighter.
I have 80. So...
Y'all sitting over there with your big hit point totals.
Yeah. You can still die to these, can't you?
Yeah, I was going to say, you've already seen heaven. We don't know what's out there.
Yeah, I have 55 hit points, bruh.
Jeez. Stay in the back.
You tried.
Okay. Are you ready to find out what spells are in that spell book?
Hell yeah, brother.
Let's see. We've got Ray of Sickness. We have False Life. We have Cause Fear. We have Unseen Servant. We have Tasha's Mind Whip. That's an enchantment, but it's still in there.
Yep. And that makes it a wizard spell.
Yep. It has... what is this one? Ray of Enfeeblement. Has Animate Dead. It has Vampiric Touch. That's it.
Cool. That's still pretty freaking good.
Yep.
Vampiric Touch is nice. Love that spell.
Now keep in mind, to copy these into your spell book, you do have
it'll
to use
cost money and
there
time.
is a material component that is required, the paper and ink, and it also takes 1 hour per spell level to do as well. Now you can do all these things during your downtime, and you can pick up paper during that time. I'm just reminding you that it is 50 gold per spell level to copy it into your spell book.
Yes, sir. I'm just going to look at the spells at some point and decide if there's any that I want to take.
Absolutely. Now, other than that, the banquet goes by fairly nicely. You know, everyone's toasting you. You eat and you drink and you have just a good time of revelry. But you do also have things that you want to accomplish during that the next few days. So you know that as well. Now, you have let's see. So basically, you're going to have about 2 weeks worth of time to just pursue your own things. Now, during that time, Edmund is going to be putting together Coltrast as much as possible. You will have your mansion that you can go check out and explore, which we'll cover during your downtime. I figure the next 2 sessions, let's try to keep it to that if possible. All the things you want to do, besides your own threads. Each of you have your own thread that you are wanting to accomplish that we've talked about privately. That we're going to do. Ichabod, for example, looking for your family. Shokan doing her martial arts thing, so on and so forth. Kaya, now. So we're going to accomplish that next session, and then from there we're also going to do a few downtime activities. If you look through the Dungeon Master's Guide and in Xanathar's Guide, there's some pretty interesting different downtime activities that you can pursue. You can also do the commissions that you want to do to get your characters whatever items they want, like your armor, Ichabod. You're going to be able to accomplish those things during that time. So just kind of put together what you think you can accomplish during a 2-week period. Like, for example, heading to Port Suliard, Ichabod. There and back is probably going to take about a week. But you can also send for, like if you want to put commissions in, you don't have to go to North Emia to do that.
I give it to whoever is going to North Emia and say,
exactly.
Give me this.
Exactly. And Edmund can help out with that along the way, too, sending supplies up there, sending runners and that sort of thing. So keep that in mind. But I think that's actually a really good place to end things for this evening, with the town of Coltrast hailing you as true heroes. A base given to your team, money handed out, and a few other odds and ends. Lots of weapons.
In the next couple days, can you give us the amounts for the other gold and stuff?
Oh, you're talking about the sacks of gold from Sir Portleone's mansion?
3 sacks of gold, 1 sack of platinum.
Yep. The sack of platinum was 200 platinum pieces.
Yep.
In total, of the 3 sacks of gold, each one had 2,000 gold pieces, so 6,000 more total.
Okay, so everybody gets 40 more platinum.
And
And
Edmund does
then-
not take a cut in any of this. So you just make sure you weren't trying to include him.
Sure. And then everybody gets an additional 1,200 gold.
Okay, and then are we keeping the gems? Are we selling those? Just what do we want to do with that?
We'll probably have to wait and sell those in North Amia because I doubt people around here would actually have the money to pay for it.
Probably not.
Fair enough.
The one other question that I had is there anyone who actually feels that keeping that giant idol is necessary, or can I have the local smith help us smelt it down to be sold?
I don't mind either way.
I'm just saying, it's a large idol made out of gold, so...
I just love how much emphasis Matt put on this idol in the session. You're like, smelt it. Smelt that.
Well, I'm also trying to give you threads that you can explore. There's certainly...
Oh, that's true.
There's
But I'm not going to put it as decoration in my mansion, so...
That's why I was just asking. I was like, wait, do we need to keep this?
Smelt it down and turn it into a father symbol, and then I'll stick it in my mansion.
You just put a big golden statue of the father in your house.
I need people to know who I am.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to send you a picture of Sir Portleone's mansion, which the only difference is yours isn't going to have the big underground torture chamber that was dug out down there.
Shoot. That's the part I was
There
going
goes
to
Fontaine's sex dungeon.
But you can certainly ask for any revisions made and where you guys want to put things.
Well, I'm going to get a dumbwaiter put in there for sure.
Dumbwaiter.
It's a meme now.
He's just really into this.
Yeah. I mean, he just really wants that dumbwaiter.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, on that note, I think this is a great time to end things for this evening. You've all leveled up to 10. Congratulations. You have defeated Lord Veritude, saved the town of Coldtrast, are now their heroes, and you have some things to think about. What's going on with this cult? Why were they digging up this route? Just to make zombies, or is there something more going on there? Things you can think about and paths you can pursue over the next 2 weeks in-game time. But on behalf of everyone here in the Debauchery Circus, I want to say thank you to everyone who watched this evening. We very much appreciate you tuning in, and we hope to have you back again. We'll be back next Monday at 3 o'clock, where the Debauchery Circus gets to hang out, do some downtime, and chase away some of those, little threads that they've been thinking about over their journey. So we'll see you soon. So once again, thank you for watching. Have a great evening. And we'll see you next week. Good night.